Marvel Reese at 8%. I got to tell you right now, I have no idea who that is or if they're playing a joke on me, Joe.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting
Who is that?
here, but I have no idea.
You even know?
But no idea. But don't you have to pick the Heisman winner, Donnie? Isn't that like the rule of thumb if you're going to take a quarterback? Is he not the best quarterback?
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Already been doing some work in golf, doing some work in racing. And he said, dial into this call. And they put up this deck about what TGL is going to be. This is like 4 years ago at this point. And I was like, how have I not seen this on social? This is the Tiger's involved, Rory's involved. There's a screen. I was like, this is crazy. We were all texting each other like, is this for real? And that's really where it started.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
My problem with the Raiders is I think they're one of the worst teams in NFL history right now.
In history?
Joe,
Cleveland had some bad teams.
Joe, they had 75 yards against the Eagles. And it wasn't surprising.
Yeah. Outside of Bryce Howard, what do they have? Trey Tucker, Ashton Genty in the offensive line.
This moment of the Raiders, they just feel so lifeless.
Need a quarterback.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
The Chicago Blackhawks of the National Hockey League are now official partners with Kalshi. It takes effect this week. Each side can use the other's intellectual property for co-marketing purposes, and Kalshi will be promoted during home games at the United Center and on Blackhawks broadcasts. First of its kind, certainly probably not the last as well.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Hour number 2 officially underway right here on the Early Line. It's Donnie right side. It's Joe Ranieri. It's NFL football tonight. It's NFL football this weekend. It's bowl season, and also the college football playoff is on the horizon for round number 2, which moves into neutral site bowl games and how those will play out. But for us, Joe, the energy is high. An hour to go. It's important that we get the people the information that we need, and we always deliver. Rain, sleet, or snow, just like the post office.
Yeah, listen, we're always here, Donnie. I mean, even though final year of 2025, final week of 2025, it's kind of hard to believe here, Donnie. But yeah, a little later this week, we'll wake up. It'll be 2026, and we got a lot still to determine as far as the postseason goes in the NFL. But don't forget, it won't be too long before we crown a national champion in college football as well.
Exactly. 2 playoffs here going on simultaneously eventually as we get the NFL and the college football playoff underway at this point. And like Mike Tirico last night was saying, like, hey, game number 272 is next Sunday night between the Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like, man, it wasn't too long ago, Joe, that it was game number 1, the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys on opening night in Philadelphia. They raised the banner. They have the trophy out there. CeeDee Lamb dropped 16 passes that allows the Philadelphia Eagles to win that game. And then we're coming up upon the final week of the NFL season, the final game of the season before we head off into the playoffs. Should be some fun to watch out. But let's get to the early lineup and the hottest topics, which includes Tom Izzo. You need an adult in the room, and that's what Tom Izzo was saying. You can't be going down this path. Otherwise, what are we doing? Quote, shame on the NCAA, shame on the coaches too.
Yeah, I mean, listen, and nothing against the Baylor Bears here. Don't hate don't hate the player, hate the game. Don't hate the coach, hate the game, right? I mean, if you're going to allow these coaches who, let's face it, their jobs depend on them winning basketball games, right, and competing in March Madness. If you're going to allow them to pluck guys from professional leagues around the world who, yes, they may be 20, but have spent the last couple of years, Donnie, playing against grown professional men, that's not exactly what college basketball was supposed to be about. It feels like we have completely lost our way. We know we have in college football, but college basketball has taken it to a whole different level of craziness.
Exactly. And here's actually, we have a clip from Mark Few talking about here the G Leaguers and the NBA players maybe playing in college.
Oh, hey, listen, I mean, it's just, it's wild out there right now. I mean, we really don't have any organizational or any real rules right now, and so I think guys are just trying to do whatever they can do, and there's, until there's a rule that says you can't do it, it's hard to blame anybody for doing what they're doing. So our lack of leadership is really shown, and now it's probably time to get some help from Congress, but they're more screwed up than the NCAA is. So, I mean, come on. So, yeah, I don't know. They got to start listening to coaches is what they need to do, especially those of us coaches who've been in it a long time and care about the sport and aren't just worried about ourselves. We actually care about the sport. So.
In your mind, is there a line that could be drawn where maybe the G League player's okay, but the draft pick shouldn't be allowed? Or is there...
we could do this on all this stuff. Yeah. We spend an hour and a half. So let's start with just getting some leadership and sticking to our guns and saying, hey, if you want to do this, this is what, if you want to play college basketball, this is what it is. Bing, bing, bing. Just do that.
I don't know, Joe. Maybe it's so simple to say, hey, if you're 18 to 22, you can play college athletics. I don't care where you've been at this point right now. Otherwise, you're out. And also, he's right. How do you have no leadership? How is there not a head of the NCAA that goes, no, we're not putting up with this. We have NIL. You're going to get paid. If you did go pro, you are not allowed in this league. If you're 26 years old and played for the Euro Basketball Association, you can't play. It seems easy to me, but here's what I need, Joe. In Major League Baseball, it feels like the Dodgers are going to drive us to a lockout because they sign everybody and they win, and the rest of the teams won't like that. Give me a guy like Calipari. Can somebody please do this next year, Joe? Give me 5 players that were all NBA talents and put them on your college basketball team, and please make them between 25 to 35 years old, because that'll spur change.
Yeah, listen, but again, don't hate the coach, hate the game here,
yes,
because
right.
Scott Drew of Baylor did not create this situation. Nope. He is just sitting there going, listen, if this is what, and the leadership is supposed to be the NCAA. They're the one who is supposed to set the bar. I mean, how many careers have got blown out simply because the NCAA said, you can't buy that kid a hamburger. You can't do that. He can't come visit. They had all of these rules, and now they have none. No leadership, nothing. And Scott Drew, kudos to him. He's like, well, if you're going to allow this, then I'm going to get an unfair, I'm going to go ahead and bring a guy in. It's that simple. And by the way, he's bringing him in just before conference play, which is hilarious to me. He didn't even have to play in any of the meaningless games. He's only brought him in as a ringer for the actual season that matters, which is right now.
Yeah, same thing like in college football. Don't blame the group of 5 teams. They won their football games. They wound up there because stupid leadership had them in that game. Not their fault. Let's keep it moving, Joe. In the NFL, they're trying to get even more money out of their broadcast deals by re-upping, man. The NFL continues to print money. Looks like they're going to print a little bit more as well.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if there's a streaming network that's still yet to come, don't worry about it. The NFL will call you, and you two will be carrying those games. So why not? Everybody gets a piece of the NFL, right? It's all about the money.
Bears lost last night, but they got T-shirts and hats over the weekend because they won the division because the Green Bay Packers folded up against the Baltimore Ravens. Headed to the playoffs, those Chicago Bears, first-year coach Ben Johnson, huh?
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, great turnaround, good stuff, but good luck. Good luck with that defense. Let me know how that works out. You two are going to have to score 40 points a game to beat anybody in the postseason. Yes.
Dial up some of that magic offense here for Ben Johnson. They needed about 5 more yards of magic offense last night to cash in a ticket for them. Wasn't able to do that. How about this one? We ain't done yet. That's Derrick Henry. He ran for over 200 yards and 4 touchdowns last time we saw him on Saturday. Can he do it again against the Pittsburgh Steelers? But in the meantime, moving up the ranks of one of the best running backs to ever play the game. See how high he can go.
I mean, listen, would you bet against him? I mean, he's kind of, it's not like they overworked him the week prior. So I think, listen, it's go time. That's what he has been his entire career. I wouldn't bet against him getting the ball another 25, 30 times this. If you can't stop him, Donnie, why go away from him?
But the only way you can stop Max Crosby is make him ineligible to play in football games by putting him on the IR. Let's hear from Max Crosby here.
When you hear talk about the number 1 pick being on the line?
Yeah, I don't give a shit about the pay. Like, to be honest, I don't play for that. I don't. That's not my job. My job is to be the best defensive end in the world, and that's what I focus on every day. And being a great leader, and being an influence, and being being that guy on a consistent basis for my team. So, yeah, that's their job. That's the front office, the coaches, that they do that. But that's got nothing to do with me. I've learned that lesson in the past. I'm not trying to. You can't control everything, and that's not my job description. My job is to be the best in the world at what I do, and that's wrecking the game.
He is a wild man. He is a great football player, but do not feel bad for him and Myles Garrett. They both elected to sign with their horrible franchises here, and this is a product of that environment, Joe.
Yeah, P.S. Exactly 11 minutes after that interview was given, Pete Carroll called him into the office and shut him down for the rest of the season. So there you go. You can be the best defensive end at home.
Matthew Tkachuk, hey, look at that, getting back to practice, maybe looking at another cup here run, Joe. The excitement is what for you on this?
Oh, very exciting here in South Florida. And yes, he's taking the ice. It won't be long. And yeah, they're getting a few reinforcements back to make another run at this.
Steve Kerr. Ooh, that fading dynasty. Sometimes you don't want to talk about it, but bringing it to reality. He's right. Steve Kerr's right here.
Yeah, I mean, listen, all good things must come to an end, right? And then that includes dynasties in any sport across the board. He's spot on with that one.
Look, next segment here, I'm definitely going to get a picture somehow of this battle of the sexes between Kyrgios and Sabalenka. Worked in, people. We got every sport covered. That's what we do on the grid. Come on now.
Chicago Blackhawks of the National Hockey League are now official partners with Kalshi. It takes effect this week. Each side can use the other's intellectual property for co-marketing purposes, and Kalshi will be promoted during home games at the United Center and on Blackhawks broadcasts. First of its kind, certainly probably not the last as well.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
When did we become, so bitter that we can't accept another man's apology? We make mistakes all the time. And as a grown man, you have to say, I'm sorry every once in a while. And it's okay to say that. And the apology, I think, should be accepted. And in this case, I'm accepting it.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
When you look at this NBA Cup, you have to think about the importance. As a coach, I find a lot of importance. This wasn't a gimmick win. The Knicks earned it the hard way. And it matters in April as Mike Brown continues to build that culture in New York. And now, in my opinion, the Knicks are legit contenders to win the NBA title.
Pro basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
Arvil Reese at 8%. I got to tell you right now, I have no idea who that is or if they're playing a joke on me, Joe.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting.
Who is that?
Here, but I have no idea.
Do you even know?
But no idea. But don't you have to pick the Heisman winner, Donnie? Isn't that like the rule of thumb if you're going to take a quarterback? Is he not the best quarterback?
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Hey, college bowl season. Yeah, it's underway. And by the way, we do have 4 important bowl games coming up, Joe Ranieri. It's called the College Football Playoff masquerading as a bowl. Now, I get upset with this because to me, bowl season should be bowl season. Insignificant, nobody cares. You want to have the Peach Bowl, have it. You want to have the Sugar Bowl, have it. You want to have the Rose Bowl, have it. Put the Rose Bowl, Central Michigan taking on App State for all I care. I do find it funny where you are actually one of the best 4 teams in the country. You just watched round number 1 played on the home team's home fields and said, you know what? They're making bank at home. Their fans are getting involved. It's a great atmosphere. Let's make our fans pay for a 50-50 scenario and a bowl game that doesn't give us any advantages, but here we are. But on bowl season here, sometimes these coaches say, you know what? I think we're taking it serious here. How about Brent Kelly? Was it Brent Kelly? Who's that? Brent Key at this point right now. Bowl games not being important. Yeah, Brent Key, talk to me.
I really don't understand. I think the narrative that's been created the last couple of years about these games aren't important. I mean, who's to say a football game's not important? There's 365 days in a year that we live, breathe, work for 12 guaranteed opportunities. There's no other sport like that. And then to have another opportunity to compete, I just don't get that. I don't understand people saying the value of a bowl game. It's a game.
Come on now. It is a game. It's a meaningless game. But also, coaches have a different opinion on this because why? Somehow, some way, their agents are like, hey, man, you win the Pop-Tarts Bowl, that's an extra $150,000 in your pocket. Yeah, it means something to the coaches. Absolutely, Joe.
Well, I mean, listen, what he's saying theoretically is correct. I mean, it's the one sport that, you know, you're not playing a 162-game schedule. You're not playing a pickup game, you know, in March someplace like you only have a limited amount of games in you. So from that perspective, not all of these kids are moving on to play in the NFL or any other league for that matter. So, yeah, from that perspective, if you're not the Ohio States of the world, yeah, it should mean something to them. But don't expect the public to jump on that bandwagon.
By the way, this stupid college football has the stupidest past of any sport in history, where they were voting on who the national championship was going to be, which is asinine to think about. But whoever thought the structure was right, Joe. And when I talk about back in, I'm talking about, like, let's just go 1980s. Hey, our final regular season game, Joe, November the 3rd. Oh, we played the national championship game on January 2nd. What? Like, you took 2 months off in your sport to play a national championship game? Yeah, that's college football. So anybody at any time can poke holes in the theory of, yeah, we have meaningful and meaningless bowl games. It's stupid to begin with here. But it's not stupid when we talk about the college football playoff, which I'm going to enjoy, Joe. 7:30 p.m. on New Year's Eve. You take a look at that bracket. First up is Ohio State and Miami. 9.5-point favorite here for Ohio State. That hasn't moved yet, Joe. Low total, 42.5. Bowl games, baby. Let's go to the Cotton Bowl down in Jerry World, huh?
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's it's unfortunate that we've got to get this game at this point in the playoffs, but a lot of people believe the winner of this game, very much alive and well, could actually run the table and win a national championship. And I agree with it. I think it's going to be a fascinating matchup here, certainly from the defensive side, Donnie. But again, I got almost a double-digit favorite in one of the lowest totals for two blue blood teams that you can see here. I mean, Ohio State just 42. You know, they're not playing Arkansas State. Like, they're playing the University of Miami with, you know, a 30-year-old quarterback and one of the best wide receivers in the country. So I think it's going to be fascinating here. If you like Miami, this game's probably going over at some point.
Joe, help me out. In the Dallas-Fort Worth with the Metroplex down there is a stadium that they play a football game every year. It's called the Cotton Bowl. They used to play the Cotton Bowl in the Cotton Bowl, but now the Cotton Bowl is played at AT&T Stadium. Why? We don't like tradition in college football? What happened?
Well, yeah, the Cotton Bowl's I mean, listen, OU and Texas play there every year, right? The Red River rivalry, the shootout.
Yep.
That has always been the local, but no. Not as many seats and not as many boxes as they're going to be. The suites is where the money is here, Don.
By the way, I used to watch the Cotton Bowl a lot. Miami Hurricanes, I remember, absolutely plastered Texas when they should have actually been playing for a national championship that season in the Cotton Bowl. Do you remember the initial sponsor of the Cotton Bowl, Joe? Do you know who that was?
Oh, who was the original sponsor?
Think like Gas Oil Company.
Was it Shell? I mean, how far are we going back here?
Mobile Cotton Bowl. Remember that? Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Whatever. Can we have a pack of, like, how about Marlboro Light, bowl game here? We used to have some good things back in the day at that point, where now you can't have the oil company sort of get in there. Let's move on here, Joe, to New Year's Day. By the way, New Year's Day used to be clogged with a lot of bowl games, and back in the day, they were meaningful. there's no longer that clog of bowl games. They did pave the way for every team to play on that day, a playoff game. Oregon, Texas Tech, Alabama, Indiana, Ole Miss, and Georgia. Oregon and Texas Tech. Now we're seeing some line movement, Joe. Oregon's up to a 2.5-point favorite now, getting some movement.
Yeah, I think this is going to be an absolute battle. Some of these games, Donnie, like this one, might be better than anything we get for a national championship matchup.
Correct.
But I think Oregon and Texas, there's a battle of wills here. I wouldn't want to sweat out an under in that game. I'll tell you that right now, Donnie. No way am I sweating out an under there.
How about Alabama and Indiana? That's the 4 o'clock game. That is the Rose Bowl. Did you know Indiana, Joe, only getting about 20% of the tickets right now? Still favored by 6.5 with that line not moving much. People look at that name, Alabama, and said, I just can't quit them. I understand, but Indiana not getting a lot of respect. And you know who's probably watching that line knowing he's not getting respect? That's the big Sig over there, man.
Yeah, this is going to be, listen, if Indiana is
Natty's
as good
upset.
as we think, then okay, they should have no problem dispatching Alabama in this spot. I do think that one is going to come down to the final who has the ball last, Donnie. I think that's how that game is going to end.
Now, let me get upset with things, Joe. You know I like to get upset with timings. Like, so we have 3 games on an entire day. We start at 12, we go at 4, but then we go at 8 o'clock. Why aren't we at 12? Like, 3:30 and 6:30. Why can't do you not want ratings for Ole Miss and Georgia? Because contrary to prior belief, like, I understand the day and the kids don't have to go back to the 5th. Put that game on early. You have an entire day to play 3 football games, and we're winding up at 8 o'clock at night. I'm for the people, man. I'm not selfish. I want everybody to watch and enjoy these things. It's the way you watch the SportsGrid Network and the early line. We can all watch it. We're up.
Chicago Blackhawks of the National Hockey League are now official partners with Kalshi. It takes effect this week. Each side can use the other's intellectual property for co-marketing purposes, and Kalshi will be promoted during home games at the United Center and on Blackhawks broadcasts. First of its kind, certainly probably not the last as well.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
When did we become, so bitter that we can't accept another man's apology? We make mistakes all the time. And as a grown man, you have to say, I'm sorry every once in a while. And it's okay to say that. And the apology, I think, should be accepted. And in this case, I'm accepting it.
The Craig Carden Show, only on SportsGrid.
When you look at this NBA Cup, you have to think about the importance. As a coach, I find a lot of importance. This wasn't a gimmick win. The Knicks earned it the hard way, and it matters in April as Mike Brown continues to build that culture in New York, and now, in my opinion, the Knicks are legit contenders to win the NBA title.
Pro basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
Arvil Reese at 8%. I got to tell you right now, I have no idea who that is or if they're playing a joke on me, Joe.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting
Who is that?
here, but I have no idea.
Do you even know?
But no idea. But don't you have to pick the Heisman winner, Donnie? Isn't that like the rule of thumb if you're going to take a quarterback? Is he not the best quarterback?
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Predictive markets tonight, Joe. Boy, I would like to have a crystal ball to start predicting some of these odds and outcomes here, which includes tonight's game between the Los Angeles Rams and the Atlanta Falcons. If I take a look at the Kalshi marketplace right now, Joe, there's a 76% chance that the Los Angeles Rams win this game outright. A $100 wager would pay back $132. Now, again, Joe, I always like to present this notion where you have to take the realm of sports betting, which again, DraftKings, FanDuel, you take the point spread, it is what it is, which you can bet in the predictive markets. But understand this, I'm not paying that juice. Well, if you told an investor that I would give you a $100 bill at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and at around 11 o'clock, I'll give you $132 back. That seems like a good investment. No, Joe? The Rams are going to beat Atlanta tonight. Would you bet on that?
I don't hate that at all, Donnie, to tell you the truth, because I do happen to believe that's exactly what is going to happen. And I like that number, Donnie. I'll take an extra $32 here on top of the 100. I got no problem with that.
Yeah. And by the way, also understand this too, because you can bet the spread in total in the predictive markets now. If you do take the Rams, Joe, let's call it 7.5 at the books, 7.5 here on Kalshi. A $100 wager would pay you back $209. If we're using that sportsbook terminology, let's just call it a minus 110 price. You ain't getting that back. You would have to lay 110 to get that money back. So you're actually getting a better price point theoretically, Joe, with a little bit of plus money if you take it straight, as opposed to paying a vig of minus 110.
And that's what it's all about, right? Maximizing profitability there and understanding that, where can I get the best price? And we always say it, Donnie, it doesn't make a difference. Predictive markets, sports betting markets, doesn't matter. Shop around, get the best price for the outcome you think is most likely to happen.
Exactly. How about this next outcome here, Joe? As we saw yesterday in a game that we didn't think anybody wanted to win, and the Giants played it like the Super Bowl where they had to win. That was a game against the Vegas Raiders. The question I'm going to ask you today, Joe, which team will make the first overall pick in the 2026 Pro Football Draft? Now, keep in mind, it's not the team that finishes with the worst record, because you can trade that pick. It's who you think is actually going to make that pick. Now, Vegas is a 73% chance. Why? Because if they lose next week, they will pick number one, and I can't see them needing a quarterback, trading out and saying we don't want to take a quarterback this year, followed by the Jets and the Giants here. It should be simple. Vegas has a blueprint. Now, also, can Andy Reid be so devious where he's like, you know what? I don't want the Raiders with the first pick here to get the quarterback that they want. I'm going to lay down in this game with our guy, Oladokin / Oladokun, however you want to call that guy's name here. What are you thinking about this, Joe? It's got to be Vegas, right? They can't not finish the tank, or can they?
Oh, no, they'll finish the tank. They listen, they announced to the whole world after Max Crosby had to tell them, I don't care about your draft picks. Yeah, they immediately did everything in their power to make sure. And what's really funny is their best offensive lineman, Colton Miller, right, who had missed most of the season, has been practicing for the last 2.5 weeks, Donnie, ready to go. What'd they do? They shut him down, too. They said, no, you're not. Yeah. Even though he's been practicing, they shut him down. I know there's no tanking in the NFL, sure. But the Raiders are tanking, and they're very good at it, Donnie. We just saw that last night.
Yeah, we did. And by the way, also, you're taking a look at tanking and how you can ramp it up. Hey, about that mysterious, I don't want to call it mysterious, but Geno Smith's ankle injury is going to keep him out. So Kenny Pickett comes in. We know what he can and can't do. I need to see some of the IR inactives for the Raiders this week, because you've come far enough, Vegas. You're a bad football team. Just finish it. And again, if Pete Carroll wants to win these games, just take all his viable players away. So no matter what he does on Sunday, he can't win that football game. We'll watch it play out. In the NBA, the 6th man of the year winner, leader right now, Nickeil Alexander-Walker at 26%. He's up 9%, but who's coming on strong? Dennis Schroeder, 23%. He's up 20%, Joe. Dylan Harper's 21%. He's up 15%. We got some movers and shakers here in the predictive market now.
Well, Walker with the Atlanta Hawks has been a lifesaver for them, especially when Trae Young went down. So I get why he is leading the way here. But Harper is interesting because he's the rookie that is basically been picking up the slack when Wembanyama has been out or De'Aaron Fox has been down. There are, Donnie, a ton of opportunities here. A lot of basketball will be played, but that particular market, boy, that is far from being decided just yet. Now you can get a pretty good price on some guys.
Yeah, we'll see it play out there in the NBA, and a lot more focus and attention once you get into the new year, where the NBA gets a little bit of the doldrums. Those random midweek games in January and February, they turn into an epic sprint into the playoffs, and we'll be here to cover it all, no doubt about it. Let's keep moving forward, including 0 passing yards for the Eagles, and they won? Marvel Reese at 8%. I got to tell you right now, I have no idea who that is or if they're playing a joke on me, Joe.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting
Who is that?
here, but I have no idea.
You need to know?
But no idea. But don't you have to pick the Heisman winner, Donnie? Isn't that like the rule of thumb if you're going to take a quarterback? Is he not the best quarterback?
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Already been doing some work in golf, doing some work in racing. And he said, dial into this call. And they put up this deck about what TGL is going to be. This is like 4 years ago at this point. And I was like, how have I not seen this on social? This is the Tiger's involved, Rory's involved. There's a screen. I was like, this is crazy. We were all texting each other like, is this for real? And that's really where it started.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
My problem with the Raiders is I think they're one of the worst teams in NFL history right now.
In history?
Joe,
Cleveland had some bad teams.
Joe, they had 75 yards against the Eagles. And it wasn't surprising.
Yeah. Outside of Brock Bowers, what do they have? Trey Tucker, Ashton Genty in the offensive line.
This moment of the Raiders, they just feel so lifeless.
Need a quarterback.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
The Chicago Blackhawks of the National Hockey League are now official partners with Kalshi. It takes effect this week. Each side can use the other's intellectual property for co-marketing purposes, and Kalshi will be promoted during home games at the United Center and on Blackhawks broadcasts. First of its kind, certainly probably not the last as well.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Joe, I've never lived near a football stadium before, but I understand this. I've been to many stadiums where you pull up, and even down at Lone Depot Park, down in Little Havana, that you can sell some parking spots on front lawns and make a little bit of coin. I like the ingenuity of these people, Joe, and in Buffalo, they're not even ripping you off. I see some signs like, hey, park in Seattle at this gas station, $150 a car. The Buffalo Bills fans here in Orchard Park is trying to make a little bit of, and also providing bathrooms as well. Did you know that, Joe? It's a good community over there in Buffalo.
Donnie, I have been to a number of these tailgating parties
no blocking, Joe.
the old Ralph. Yeah, it is hilarious, to say the least. It is an experience that every NFL fan should have to go through at least once. But you're right, Donnie. I remember the old Orange Bowl days where, you could park in somebody's lawn for $5 and you'd have no idea whether or not your car would be there when you came back out of the game. But yes, it's a little crazier, though, in Orchard Park for Buffalo Bills games.
By the way, it's a good point you bring up, too, because I've been to Lone Depot Park, and they still somewhat do that. But I went to the Orange Bowl. This might have been 2005. And I remember, okay, you can park in this spot, it's $10. But you can park in this spot, it's $20. I'm like, what's the difference? And, they spoke Spanish there. So they basically tell us, no blocky with this position right here. Which, if you don't understand that, somebody could get hammered. Somebody might not make it back to their car, and you ain't moving your car either. So pay the extra $10 for no blocky there. I learned that as well. So pretty smart move there. But people trying to make an extra buck. And by the way, the Philadelphia Eagles did escape with a victory, Joe. They were up 13-0 at the half and cruising until the second half, where they realized we don't have to do much on offense. But sooner than later, you knew Buffalo was eventually going to cash in, and scored 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. An extra point was blocked, and a 2-point conversion with a wide open wide receiver was basically spiked into the ground by Josh Allen. The Eagles escaped with a victory and moved to 11-5. The defense is awesome, but the offense basically said, hey, defense, this is all you. Hopefully you can carry us in the second half. And they did, barely.
This game, Donnie, was a perfect, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. The Bills, one of the worst first half teams against the number in the league. They are now 1-7 against the number just at home in the first half. You know what they are in the second half, Donnie? They are undefeated. They are an ATM machine against the second half line. And they did it again yesterday. Lost the first half, won the second half, and they were 3 feet away. I mean, because that throw was just terrible. But he doesn't escape from the fact that Shakir was wide open in the corner of that end zone. They called the right play. They had the right play set. You know, they had a fill-in kicker that missed an extra point earlier. This was all more about, unfortunately, Buffalo shooting themselves in the foot than it really was about anything that Philadelphia did. Not to complete a pass in the second half, Donnie, is head-scratching. Absolutely head-scratching here. But give credit to the Bills' defense. They showed up, and they laid out like that was a playoff game yesterday.
I got to tell you one thing, too, is the funny part about this is because the Buffalo Bills, I think I heard the number, there were 26-2 straight up in the last 28 games in Buffalo. And it was pouring rain, which is the perfect anecdote for Josh Allen. He's the perfect quarterback for that situation. And the Eagles have 0 passing yards and still beat the Buffalo Bills in their own building. It doesn't make any sense. And sometimes on a week-to-week basis, you'll see that stuff here. It's crazy the way it worked out, but it is what it is. Here's Jalen Hurts talking about not relying on the defense, even though they had to rely on the defense.
You look at this offense getting 13 points. You go into halftime, you have that little lead. How much do you have the confidence with this defense that that's going to be enough when you give them a little cushion like that in the second half?
I think competitively, you don't think of it that way. I think competitively, as a unit on offense, you want to go out there and try and end things on your terms. And I feel like that's been something that I've talked about in spurts. We've had opportunities to finish games, you know, with the ball in our hands, and then we've had opportunities where we haven't. And today was a game where we didn't finish the way we would have liked to finish, regardless of how the flow of the game goes. When you have an opportunity to close it, whether it's for a victory, whether it's for a, kind of 4-minute mode, you want to do that. And so that's something that we'll all learn from and, take the coaching as we go.
There you go. Jalen Hurts talking about it. We'll see if the Super Bowl champions can make a run here, which means looks like they're going to have to play in Week 18, which I didn't want to have happen. But then again, Dan Campbell is going to play his starters and try to knock off the Bears, which the Eagles might find themselves in that number 2 spot. We'll see how it plans out this week. The Eagles have not made a determination if they're going to play starters, and that we don't know even if the Detroit Lions might shut down Jahmyr Gibbs. But based on everything, Joe, that Dan Campbell's done in the past, he always makes the wrong decision, which means they'll play all of their starters this weekend in a meaningless game for them. What do you think?
Well, yeah, and I doubt very much that. And listen, it could very well be with the players, too. I mean, do you really want the last game that you play on this season to be 2 horrific losses? I think there might be some anger with that Detroit team that wants to come out and blow a team out, especially a division rival.
Yeah, we'll see how that one plays. By the way, the Seattle Seahawks won 27-10 against the Panthers. Man, that's a good win. Favored by 7 points, winning by double digits against a team fighting for their playoff lives and the division. This was 2 times where they came and played an NFC South team on the road and looked terrible in the first half and then blew the team out in the second. Sam Darnold wasn't great by any stretch. 18 of 27, $147, a touchdown and interception, a QBR of 25.3. These questions always come up with Darnold, but that's a Seahawks team that's now 13-3 and controls their own destiny with a win against San Francisco. Will be the 1 seed, Joe.
Yeah, this is all going to be very interesting to me, Donnie, on how this all plays out at the end, because is it me or is the NFL completely locked into a lot of this not already being decided? Like, we've got not 1 but 2 de facto winner-take-all situation. We still have the race for the number 1 seed and the bye. And all of this, I think, despite the NFL, they have really lucked into a Week 18 that a lot of these games have some juice, more than I thought would have had, that's for sure.
You're right about that, because I was talking about Week 17 like this past. These games stink here, and if things go the wrong way, Week 18 it's going to be a complete washout. Now we actually have games to watch. Saturday, 2 meaningful football games. Sunday you'll watch anyway because a couple teams are trying to ladder up, and then the Sunday night game is win or go home. At least we have something to look forward to before we get to the playoffs here. The Giants, 34-10 over the Raiders. A 3-touchdown victory in a game. And by the way, handicapping this game, I said to myself, I don't understand how anybody's going to take any team that's favored in this game. The Raiders were favored by 2.5. Anyway, I'm taking them. Same thing with the Giants, but the Giants continue to gain steam all week long and close as a 3-point favorite. Like, who was betting the Giants? Well, apparently they knew something I didn't know, that the Giants would absolutely lay waste to the Vegas Raiders.
Yeah, I mean, congrats. Okay, but I'm watching that game. We're covering that game, Donnie, yesterday for In-Game Live, and I am watching Jackson Dart get design runs called. He is trying to bulldoze and take out guys, like lowering his shoulder. Like, what are we doing here? Like, why is he even in the game at this point? Like, please save Jackson Dart in week 18. Pretty please, Giants.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. Let's see what happens with the Giants. Can they win again? Because, by the way, like, I can't believe I'm going to lose this ticket, Joe. I had over 3.5 wins for the New York Giants entering into the season. They probably should have 8 or 9 wins based on the way they were playing in games, only to fold up late. And just like this, they'll probably lose to the Dallas Cowboys in the final game, and it'll stay under that prop there. But how about the Bears and the 49ers last night? Nobody played defense, but boy, it was fun to watch offense. 2 quarterbacks on an elite level with great play callers up and down the field. And it came down to the final possession inside the 5-yard line and a defensive stop for the 49ers as they now control their chance to be the number 1 seed. And the Chicago Bears now looking at the 2 to 3 seed here after winning their division.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know about defensive stop as being generous. It was more like Caleb Williams one-hopping a wide-open wide receiver in the end zone, and they got away with one there. But there was no defense here. But at least the 49ers, you feel, all they got to get is a couple of stops because nobody is stopping that offense without George Kittle, by the way, last night.
It is a fun offense to watch, and they do well, and I love Kyle Shanahan, but just that defense is just so bad. Eventually, that's going to catch up to you, but we'll see in Week 18, the battle for the division and the 1 seed on the line in San Francisco. We'll be back for NBA action next. Arvil Reese at 8%. I got to tell you right now, I have no idea who that is if they're playing a Joe Bowman Joe.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting
Who is that?
here, but I have no idea.
You even know?
But no idea. But don't you have to pick the Heisman winner, Donnie? Isn't that like the rule of thumb if you're going to take a quarterback? Is he not the best quarterback?
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Already been doing some work in golf, doing some work in racing. And he said, dial into this call. And they put up this deck about what TGL is going to be. This is like 4 years ago at this point. And I was like, how have I not seen this on social? This is the Tiger's involved, Rory's involved. There's a screen. I was like, this is crazy. We were all texting each other like, is this for real? And that's really where it started.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
My problem with the Raiders is I think they're one of the worst teams in NFL history right now.
In history?
Joe,
Cleveland had some bad teams.
Joe, they had 75 yards against the Eagles. And it wasn't surprising.
Yeah. I mean outside of Brock Bowers, what do they have? Trey Tucker, Ashton Genty in the offensive line.
This moment of the Raiders, they just feel so lifeless.
Need a quarterback.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
The Chicago Blackhawks of the National Hockey League are now official partners with Kalshi. It takes effect this week. Each side can use the other's intellectual property for co-marketing purposes, and Kalshi will be promoted during home games at the United Center and on Blackhawks broadcasts. First of its kind, certainly probably not the last as well.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Other big sports stories over the weekend included, I don't know if it was a big sports story, but I did hear about it. It was the battle of the sexes. It was a random tennis player that's not ranked very high and not doing much versus one of the best tennis players in the world as a woman in Sabalenka. The final was the men won, or or Kyrgios won, but also, can we put the picture up? Do we have the picture of the actual court? Like, help me out, Joe. Battle of the sexes. I'm going to show you I'm better. Like we saw this back in the day with Billie Jean King. They played at the Astrodome. It was a regulation tennis court, and Everybody got to watch and had a good time, and it was a big sellout, and people were interested. Why was the court smaller for the women's side than the men's side, where it really wasn't a battle of the sexes? It was, well, we know it's going to be unfair. Let's make it harder on the male, who's not a very good male tennis player overall, considering male versus male competition, but easily dispatched of the woman. The point of this was what?
I have no idea, Donnie. If you were going to do that, just play pickleball. Like, isn't that what pickleball is all about? To just go ahead and give us a pickleball court and let them go at it from there with, a glorified ping pong match. Like, I don't know, what was the point of shrinking the courts? There's nothing that resembled tennis that, except maybe the guy who actually had to paint the lines was drunk. Like, I don't know how else you come up with it, Donnie. I don't know why anybody would have looked at that and thought, well, this is going to be fun to watch. There was nothing fun about that.
And did anybody even, I don't know who with the appetite was, you know what, this is going to be fantastic. Let's put this on a Sunday and let it play out. I just thought it was madness, because if you just played a regular tennis match and the guy won, nobody really cared. The girl won. I don't really think anybody would care either. But the fact that the court was smaller on one side just looked like it was an optical illusion. Like, why was this done? Ridiculousness. Hopefully it never comes up again. And yes, the average male is going to beat the very best female in the world, because that's just genetics, people. It's not anything more crazy than that. Let's take a look here and go over to the NBA. We're going to talk about genetics. LeBron James is a genetic freak. He's still playing in the NBA, but some of those defensive ends here that we're getting these clips aren't looking too good. Here's Redick talking about LeBron.
I think since we've gotten Bron back, we haven't been as organized offensively. Too many random possessions. So, that's on me. So it's those three things, defensive clarity, role clarity, and offensive organization.
How about that? By the way, was that practice hard on Saturday? I didn't get it. Ayton seemed like he wasn't paying any attention to any practice at any time, Joe.
Yeah, that cracks me up. Like, you signed Luka Doncic and you bring back a 40-year-old LeBron and you're shocked nobody's playing defense. Like, it's just amazing to me. But they did drop, 68 last night combined to beat one of the worst teams in the NBA in the Sacramento Kings. So I guess, all is right now in LA, I think is what they're saying.
Hear me out, Joe. During the 60s, 70s, 80s, and into the 90s, a big part of going to a hockey game was lining up and saying, you know what? Love the Flyers. They're taking on the Rangers tonight. I wonder if Dave Brown is going to drop the gloves tonight, because if he doesn't, I'm going to be upset. People love fighting in sports here. And in the NHL back in the day, it was routine. The players policed themselves. You want to take a cheap shot at my favorite player? Your goon over there is going to fight my goon, and he's going to have to pay the price because you did that. Can you imagine in the NBA if fighting was allowed, Joe? Could we take this to the next level? Like, I'm even talking about Steph Curry's going toe-to-toe with another point guard like Jose Alvarado. Can you imagine ding, 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 and the players separate and the two guys square up on the court? Unbelievable theater. You want ratings? That's ratings, Joe. In the NBA right now, we might be getting ratings because we're throwing punches now.
Well, which is good. Do something, because the idea that everyone loves everyone and kumbaya and we're all friends and let's go out to the club afterwards is absurd. Because, anybody that grew up watching Bill Lambier and company or, Kobe, Barkley, they would have rather just ripped your head off than ever. We saw this kind of thing on a nightly basis, which I'll take any day. I'll take more of that any day in the NBA.
Scotty Barnes, historic triple-double, 23, 25, and 10. And by the way, 25 is unbelievable to get. But is that a product of the man is really good and gets a lot of rebounds? Or, God, man, can somebody make a shot around here? Too many bricks.
Yeah, well, they had to go to overtime, which was kind of crazy against the Golden State. How the Golden State Warriors blew that game is beyond me. But yeah, he kind of went off in overtime as well, and that was it. It was a one-man wrecking crew, and he basically single-handedly handled the Golden State Warriors yesterday.
By the way, put up this graphic next for this Stat News tweet, because this is where I start to get a kick out of things and say, you know what? Sometimes you got to stay in your lane. 500-plus points, 250-plus rebounds, 150-plus assists, and 25-plus blocks. I knew who the guy on the left is, but if we didn't predispose of who that's supposed to be with Scotty Barnes, I would have no idea who that guy on the right was at all. And I'm going to tell you right now, 95% of NBA fans probably wouldn't either.
Yeah, who is that on the right there? Don't tell me that's a bad joker. Is it? Like, what is that?
That's a bad joker. Yeah, exactly.
That's a bad joker. Wow, that's awful. That is terrible.
That's pretty good stuff as a line delay. Scotty Barnes right up against him at that point right here as it goes. Nuggets and the Heat tonight, Joe. I'm going to abstain from this because why? It's coming up in bye in our next segment here. But a 2.5-point spread for those Miami Heat here. 245.5 total. And look at that. The Smart Moves NBA projection. Miami by 3, they're saying. The wrong team is favored is what we're telling you.
It's crazy, too, because you have – and actually Tyler Hero might be back for Miami. Shocker in this
Party
one
time.
here. But, yeah, Joker and company coming off a rare loss against Orlando, a game in which they had a double-digit lead for most of it and blew it in the fourth quarter. We'll see if they rebound here tonight in Miami, who's going to want to run. I wouldn't be sweating out an under in this one tonight either, Donnie.
By the way, is Tyler Hero still a hero around like the club scene in South Florida? Is he still like hanging out and throwing on the sunglasses, hanging out with the boys? It could be. Maybe he's back. Maybe he's tired of doing that party and going to put some work in on the court. Cavs Spurs tonight. I don't know what's going on with the Cavaliers, but look at this. The Spurs were favored by 5. Now it's down to 3. What gives here? Is Wemby not playing? What happened?
Well, De'Aaron Fox missed the last game, so we'll have to see what the available. But who cares? I mean, the Cavs can't stop a nosebleed defensively right now, and they very disjointed this Cleveland Cavs team right now. Not good.
It's a Monday. One more segment to go to get you ready for the rest of your day. Got an interesting one, too. Did you follow Anthony Joshua and that fight with Jake Paul? Got some news on Anthony Joshua coming up that you're not going to want to miss right here on the early line. Reese at 8%. I got to tell you right now, I have no idea who that is if they're playing a Joe Bowman Joe.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting
who is that?
Here, but I have no idea.
Do you even know?
But no idea. But don't you have to pick the Heisman winner, Donnie? Isn't that like the rule of thumb if you're going to take a quarterback? Is he not the best quarterback?
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Already been doing some work in golf, doing some work in racing. And he said, dial into this call. And they put up this deck about what TGL is going to be. This is like 4 years ago at this point. And I was like, how have I not seen this on social? This is the Tiger's involved, Rory's involved. There's a screen. I was like, this is crazy. We were all texting each other like, is this for real? And that's really where it started.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
My problem with the Raiders is I think they're one of the worst teams in NFL history right now.
In history?
Joe,
Cleveland had some bad teams.
Joe, they had 75 yards against the Eagles. And it
That
wasn't
was
surprising.
Outside of Brock Bowers, what do they have? Trey Tucker, Ashton Genty in the offensive line.
This moment of the Raiders, they just feel so lifeless.
Need a quarterback.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
The Chicago Blackhawks of the National Hockey League are now official partners with Kalshi. It takes effect this week. Each side can use the other's intellectual property for co-marketing purposes, and Kalshi will be promoted during home games at the United Center and on Blackhawks broadcasts. First of its kind, certainly probably not the last as well.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Anthony Joshua, some of the reports here are saying that he made close to $90 to $100 million for fighting Jake Paul on his special on Netflix, and he did knock out Jake Paul, which a lot of people wanted to see. So how does he celebrate? I guess he went to Nigeria, and by the way, survived a deadly car crash here, as some of the pictures are just coming in, and it looks like he's just on a random highway. There's no ambulances here. He's in the back seat without his shirt off, and getting pulled out of the car. Looks like to be in pain, but it looks like he did survive. We don't know the injuries for him, but a deadly car crash in Nigeria. And that was on my bingo card this morning on a Monday, Joe.
There's so many questions with this one, Donnie. I just feel it. There's so many. You just made $100 million and you're getting into a car crash in Nigeria. Like, what is, my goodness. Yeah, well, you know what? If he made 90 this time, if there's a part 2 to this fight, what's he going to make in that one, Donnie? If he can stay out of car crashes, that is.
Doesn't when you have the rematch, you automatically get paid more than the guy that you just lost in the last one? We'll find out if he does that. And also what these injuries could be for him, we'll probably find out a little bit later. But we do have some graphics here, Joe, for the battle of the sexes and the court, which doesn't make any sense. You see, Kyrgios is wider because it's easier to hit a ball in a wider space. Sabalenka's was shorter. I don't know. Like, what was the point of that? Like, what? Hey, I beat Kyrgios. Yeah, but your court was easier to play on than his. Like, what was the point of that?
That is just like a slap in the face. Is it? Do the women play on that smaller court that I meant? No, right? So what are we doing here? It just feels like it's more of a slap in the face to Sabalenka than it is anything else. Like, we're going to go ahead and shrink the court for you here. You're going to be playing pickleball while he's going to, like, what are we doing here? I do not understand that at all.
I'm surprised, like in miniature golf, when you roll up to like the 18th hole and you putt, if you make it in through the windmill, they give you like a free game. Like, why don't they just put windmills up there and make it even tougher for Kyrgios to play in that tennis match here? Ridiculous. He won. Hopefully we never see that again. Now it's time for the part of the show, Joe, where they hear us talking, and I'm talking about the public, on what we think on each and every topic. We want to hear from you, the public. Here's our Fade the Public poll. At SportsGrid on X, give us a follow Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We ask questions that we want to get answers from you. The question today, simple. It's Monday Night Football, people. What is your best bet for tonight's Monday Night Football matchup between the Rams and the Falcons? 4 choices. Over, under, Rams with the spread, Falcons getting the points here. I went, Falcons getting the 7.5 just to have some fun, and maybe the Rams will sit some guys at game time. I'll analyze it a little bit later. Joe, where did you go in this game of those 4 options?
Well, it's funny, Donnie, because this game opened up originally 47.5, and I'm seeing nothing but tickets and money to the under. And yet this is 49.5, Donnie. So it appears that we have a big public pros versus Joes line in the sand on the total. The public loves the under, believe it or not, but the pros, they think this thing is flying over the total here, which is ironic, but I tend to agree with the public here. I think maybe the under might be the better look.
We will find out tonight. Now you're going to find out some of those best bets on a Monday. Here's bye. All right, Joe, best bets of the night. Full slate tonight. So many different ways to go. Where are we headed?
Well, Donnie, if it ain't broke, we're not going to fix it here, even in week 17 tonight. And that is because McVay and the Rams, there is just simply no better coach against the spread after a straight-up loss than Sean McVay. 32-19-1 against the number off a loss. It is the best record for any coach in the NFL since he entered the league in 2017. I'm sorry. I think the Rams are going to want to get the stink and that taste out of their mouth from blowing that lead last week to Seattle. I expect them to go to Atlanta and have a good time and win by double digits. I'll lay it with the Rams.
Now, look, Joe, if you placed that on the predictive markets, we'd be giving you -7.5 around a +110 price at that point with no juice. Rams tonight by double digits. That's what we're expecting there for Joe. For me, I'm going to go to the NBA and maybe a little bit of the case of the South Beach flu for those Denver Nuggets. We had an opening line, Joe, at -4 points. That's now down to -2.5. The Miami Heat only getting 20% of the early ticket count on a Monday morning. That means we're taking the Miami Heat +2.5 at a -115 price. Let's go Heat. Let's go Rams. Let's go 2-0, Joe.
No problem with that, Donnie. Well, good way to start the final week of the year.
Amen. You know what? Joe Ranieri, Donnie Wright, we will see you bright and early once again tomorrow morning. Good luck.